So let me get to building this project. Most of it is done, I just have to assemble it, and the majority of the time I spent was actually making this box. Now I will save you all of the details because I do not have it on tape, but basically what I've done is used some plywood, something like that, some MDF in the back, and some plastic kind of styrofoam for the bottom. Speaking of the bottom, I've used some rivets to hold the bottom in place. Just use the whole rivets and stick them in wood. I have some RGB LED strip on the bottom, and I have 3 cutouts, 2 for the fans and 1 for the extension cord. And also I have some feet on the bottom. Hopefully you can see it, so 4 feet, and this will also make it so you can grab this easily and carry it, and also the LED strip will be visible from the bottom. Oh, the size, it's about 55 by 55 centimeters and about, I believe, 10 centimeters in the front and 18 to 20 centimeters in the back. Now I did make some plans when making the box. This was mainly for the outside. On the inside I kind of winged it. So I have a groove. This groove is for the monitor and also for the shelf on the top. This piece is kind of dangerous. I have 3 nails sticking out, and this is for the mouse. I'll show you that in a minute. I have 2 fans, some wire mesh from the bottom, so in case someone sticks their hand through the bottom, the fans will not hurt them. Then my cooling solution for the mini PC, a big fan. I used some hot glue on the sides to keep it in place so I can take it out. And also my high-tech solution for a button. It's basically a ball pen. I've cut it. I can now press this in. Inside the ball pen, what I've used is, because I didn't have the ball pen tip, this was empty, I used a toothpick and some hot glue stick at the end. And I can take the mini PC out. And this is what that looks like. If I push the button in, it's simply a piece of glue stick and a toothpick. So that is basically it. Now let me take the mouse. So you may have seen the mouse in my last video. I have 3 rubber grommets. These go over the nails, like so, and they will serve as a spring so the mouse can actually be clicked. This was used from a cheap mouse, so a cheap mouse was a donor. This was a stator from a dead PC water pump. 3 screws. These were from a fan, and they had this kind of nuts. I did have to cut the screws a little bit. And then the button, which I also used from the middle mouse button of this mouse, I stuck it on the bottom. So now when you press this down, it will hit this spot, it will make a left mouse button click, which I have connected it to here, and that's basically it. As for how to move the mouse, with this ball. So this is a billiard ball. I made some squiggly lines and then sprayed it with a clear spray paint. So this is how that will work, and it's going to be USB powered, so I did not have to do anything else when it comes to the mouse. I do have 3 holes, and these holes will go over the nails. These holes do have to be bigger, otherwise there is no clicking, because the nails were too tight and the sandwich would not actually move back up, because the rubber grommets do not have enough springiness. So that is how this works. This will be connected to the PC. So I will need to do some cable management. Now, if you want to know how to make the mouse, I do have a video on how I made it. Will you be able to make the same one? Probably. It will be a lot easier if you have a 3D printer, because you won't need this mess. As for how to move the mouse, the axis will be reversed based on how you position the mouse, so either on the x-axis or on the y-axis. And if using Windows, you will need a program. A free one is Sakasama Mouse App. When it comes to Linux, you can make the changes using some piece of code, which the code is quite simple, but you do need to make a script. On the sides, I have two speakers. I also have some mesh, just like on the bottom. And that's pretty much it for the internals, I believe. I'm just missing the, well, biggest piece. And it is this one, the monitor panel. So the hand currently is just a piece of paper that has lodged in at this position. So what I will need to do is move it and draw it on the bottom side of this diffusion layer. And what I have here is a motor platter. I intended to use this to rotate it left and right, but as you can see, it does not spin as nicely as one would expect. And that's basically because of how it is connected to the monitor. And then I have 5 buttons, and this is basically a right hand, so kind of represents right hand, and this is where the ball will go. I still need to make this prettier. I will use some aluminum tape. It's non-conductive, I did check it out. So I will put it over on the top. As for the back, it looks kind of messy. And what does this hand actually do? I did show you this previously, but let me do it again in this video for anyone watching the first time. So the hand, this is how this will work. I made a cutout because this is some kind of metal, and the aluminum foil that I use is detecting the distance, how close the hand is. Well, anything basically, but the idea of this art installation is that you use your hand. And if I did not make this cutout, then this would basically act as an antenna, and if the spacing from the frame to the aluminum foil was not enough, then this again would act as an antenna. And what do I mean by that? Well, it would detect a hand touch even if I just touched the frame, or maybe even the motor by touching the platters in the front. So this is then connected how? I use an alligator clip. I've taped one side over with some tape, so it provides rigidity, and one side is then connected just like so. This is connected to the Atmega chip that provides USB human interface device for the PC, so it easily knows what command is being sent. And in this case, I believe I'm using, is it 1? Maybe it's 10 mega ohm resistor, so that this works correctly. Then I have all of the buttons connected to each individual pin with a common ground. What else do I have? Well, I did make this contraption. Previously, these pins were just plus and minus, and I've added a bunch of wires trying to get the HDD motor to work. Not the case. I mean, it did work, just not to my satisfaction. So what I'll do now is position the hand on top of this diffusion layer, flip it over, and just go over the lines with a marker. So this will take me a while, and I'll see you when I'm done. So this is done. It took me 5 to 10 minutes. Do you want to take a look? Let's take a look. Now this looks okay. It's definitely not a vector graphic like this one, but that's totally fine to me. And the hand is a little bit big, but that should not be an issue. What did take me a bit longer than 5 to 10 minutes was the frame. I put an aluminum tape over it, and this should now just clip into place. What I also have is two RGB LED strips, one on the bottom, one on the top. Now I could make the animations using these two LED strips a little bit more unique, but I connected the data line together to one pin, so any data that is sent to the LED strip will basically be the same for the bottom one and the top one. If I wanted unique animations, I would have to separate the data lines to two pins. And now let me see how this will fit. I think it fits okay, but I believe this is actually the top, so I have to turn it around. Yeah, this feels a lot nicer. This will be connected to the power supply, 5 volts, 1 amp, which is this one from an old modem. And then I basically have to connect the two fans to the plus and minus, the speaker to the plus and minus, the jack will go to the mini PC, and I believe that's pretty much it. Let's see how it fits. Fits like a glove. Just what I want to see. I also have the stop section with two cutouts for cables. One will be the power cable for the monitor, and the other one, well, basically it can be the data cable for VGA, DPI, HDMI, or what was it? DVI-D. Now this is a snug fit. The monitor will be on the top. I just have to now connect everything and we can test it out. Now that will be the basic project. I still have this that I could use. So a distance sensor based on IR. I wanted to use this mouse housing. So kind of a cyclops, if you will. Cut a hole, put this in, and then maybe have a motor move this around, and I would put it maybe in the middle. But that will have to wait. Now this has taken me a bit longer than I wanted. I have now everything in and working. The issue was actually Linux. Most of the things that I've done in Windows I had to fix when, well, installing Linux and making this run automatically. So I have nice cable management, well, as nice as it could get. So this is the 5 volt power supply for all of the electronics. This is the mini PC power supply, so that one. Then the fan. Now I believe the HDMI cable that I'm using at the moment, this one is, well, it was cheap, I believe. So it is also probably the cause of why I have some artifacting on my monitor, though the monitor itself is bad and on its last legs. On the bottom, below the power plug, I have the Atmega chip. So that one is responsible for all of the LED logic, and also it's responsible for the hand scanner and also the buttons. The mouse, you saw, it's just a mouse inverted and while using a trackball. I could use something else to power it on and off, but I think just having a switch, an extended switch like this one, well, it just works and it wasn't that hard to do and it didn't take me that long, as it would if I would implement something using software solutions. Now when the power is connected, this lights up. I believe also the LEDs at the bottom, I would have to check. Yep, I also do have LEDs on the bottom. The monitor though is disabled because the PC is not on. Will the bottom LEDs be visible? Probably not, at least not at the moment because it's not dark enough. But let me turn on the PC. and I think just a push of a button should do it. And yeah, look at that. We have Linux Mint. The monitor has now been reset to the resolution and frequency. In 10 seconds, the website should run in kiosk mode, but the file could not be accessed. Why not? Oh, because I have not specified the location. I should have tested it beforehand. Now I have to, well, I guess just lift up the monitor and connect the keyboard to fix this issue. So this is what actually should show up. What was the issue? Well, I made another copy of a file to also include offline fonts in case I don't have internet connection. And when I copied the file over, I forgot to change the name. It had a space, and that was the issue. Now it's all working. I have two buttons, maybe you can see them. One is connect chip, and the other is the user profile backdraw, which basically loads user profiles. Now the connect chip button will actually connect to the Atmega chip. In Windows, this just works because, well, when it comes to security, Windows allows you to do this. On Linux, you have to add explicit permissions if you want to connect two devices using the communication serial port. And when I have connection established, I have this button turn red. So I know that this actually works. Previously, when I have established the connection, the button stayed blue and I thought that something was amiss. And using the F12 to open the console on the websites, and it showed that I actually do not have a connection. I will simply now load my user profile. I deleted all of them, I just have one, because this will now be a final step of the project. I'll just make maybe 10 profiles so they also cycle. Now, if I had a lot more profiles, 8 of them would load, and after 10 seconds...
I promise not to bite the first time.
No, she won't bite. So when the profiles load, 8 of them show up, and then they cycle one at a time every 10 seconds. I have at the top ghost profiles, you see one. No, you don't. Let me lift you up a little bit. So you see the ghost profiles and the profile deletion or erasure. If I select a profile, I can, well, attempt to delete it, but this will never happen.
Initiating deletion protocol.
So you can attempt to enter a password, because no one has ever given a password, and I also never asked for one. This is just something that, well, is fun for the user maybe, but you can use a brute force attempt.
Hey, you're not following the protocol. That's illegal in like 7 jurisdictions. That wasn't supposed to happen.
And now the user is asked to scan the hand again. This is the second time. The first time it is when you make a profile. I will just show you the profile deletion attempt. I will not make it, because then I will also have to go into the HTML console and delete the values. So this step takes 6 seconds. When it gets back, this is done. It shows you that the user profile cannot be deleted, and some animation is playing, well, on the front of the screen. And I can now go back. I can use this button or just use the ball to cancel the scan.
That was intense. Want a snack?
And this reverses back to the original color scheme, which should be this one. The pink one is when you make a profile. So let me make one. And I also had to mess around with the settings. In Linux, the values were a lot lower. And I also lowered them even more, just in case children will be, well, accessing this installation.
Preparing deep scan. Initializing system scan. User data detected.
So maybe not as good as I thought it was when it comes to children's hand. Maybe they will have to, I don't know, use both of them.
Activating scan matrix loading. source feed. Target profile taking shape. Stabilizing neural hash. Digital trace archived. Input a name, or let fate spin the disk.
So this scanning process takes 12 seconds. It doesn't actually scan anything. This serves as a button, a touchless one, using the aluminum foil on the bottom. Now we can select a name, make random one, and once we have a name,
Now that you've named yourself, let's dress it up.
I have added like 900 images, so anyone that wants to play will be able to spend quite a lot of time scrolling through the images. But maybe let me actually type out a name. So maybe PITA.
Cool name. I've heard worse.
Now when the profile images load, a random one is selected, so not everyone starts at the same image. And then you also have the random image option if you don't want to scroll with the wheel, and you can also just keep holding it there. And maybe this one with a finger scan in the back is good.
Bold choice. Brave, even.
So now I have two profiles. If I click on it, the known contacts is at least, I believe I have set 2, so 2 to 5 contacts, because I only have 2 of them. Just this profile has a contact. The alpha will not specify a contact. The close all button closes all profiles, so this one and the previous one that was opened, and I could attempt deletion again. I have some statistics and a bio that is all made up, so no user data is actually being collected in any shape, way or form. But it's just something that's fun and shows that anything that is online, which this is not, stays online. And let me just ask you, when was the last time that you've signed up for a service, maybe just to try it out, using maybe Google, Facebook or Microsoft account? You looked at the service and wanted to close the account. You couldn't. So what happens to that profile and all of the data connected to it? Now maybe you can see the monitor is flickering. The monitor is actually bad, but it does give a nice techie kind of vibe to it and fits the project nicely. I just hope it lasts long enough. And now let me power off the PC. Which is pretty much instantaneous. Then just maybe give it half a minute and unplug the extension cord to turn off all of the LEDs. Now, if you have enjoyed watching this video as much as I have when making the project, subscribe to the channel to see more of them, and if you want to see how I made specific sections of the project, like the trackball, well, the HDD motor not really, but I do have a video on how to actually make a decoder out of it, and also how to make a hand scanner. When it comes to the HTML website and all of that, well, I do not have a video on it, but if you would like to know how I've connected everything up, let me know. That's it for this video, and we'll do something else in the next one.